Everyone, my name is Rishit. Today is the 4th of February 2024 and I'm going to be going over my weekly prediction for SPY. As usual, I'll go over the monthly, weekly, and finally the daily charts, and then we'll switch over to the Excel sheet where we can review last week's prediction and go over this week's prediction with the option chain analysis as well. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. But before starting on any analysis, it's important to make the disclaimer that all information is completely educational, and therefore it's important to do your own analysis before entering any position in the market and not only rely on the information in this video. So the monthly charts here we can see are consistently going up for the past 4 months for SPY. Starting November 23, which was largely probably the longest bullish candle. Then we had a slightly lower body size candle but on a higher volume. Similar pattern here, the body size was smaller but the volume was higher, and these all 3 months were bullish. And although this month has only just started, we can see just from here that it's going pretty bullish so far. But since we can't predict on it, these 3 months here are extremely bullish and they show a clear upwards direction. Now the DMI completely agrees with this as well. We can see that the blue line is firmly above the orange line, or the red line if you will. The red line here is the ADX, which has now started to peak up, and although it's not necessarily at a very high number mark, it is still going upwards and is showing that the trend is slightly becoming stronger and stronger. So that's all we can gauge from the monthly charts. So now let's switch over to the weekly charts to see this in a little bit more detail. And here we can see how much more apparent this is, as the market is it has just kept on going up, and it's an extremely long rally, which ended up breaking the all-time high for SPY as well. So we can see that this week on extremely high volume has again had a bullish week, where we can immediately see that the ADX is now at 25, which is actually quite a high level, and it's tilting upwards, and the blue line is above. So we have clear bullish signal from there. Volume is higher, visibly higher than the previous weeks. So we have another good signal here for a bullish trade, but we are going to be a little bit safe since there are a long shadow at the bottom, and this is largely because of a daily chart, single day, and we'll see this when we get there. But because of that, and because the RSI is extremely high, we do want to be safe. So we are going to take obviously the high of this candle as a resistance, and if it does break it, then we do have a confirmation in that direction. So the high is 496.05. And for the support, we're going to keep the high of the previous candle, which is at 489.12. So if it breaks the support, then we take a short trade or a sell, whatever you want to go. And we can see that obviously the wedge still hasn't broken and the market is still on the trend line. So we have a higher probability of a bullish trade, which is why we have a resistance at a much shorter interval than the support. But regardless, it's better to be safe and make sure we have confirmation. But that's all we can gauge from the weekly charts. So let's head now to the daily charts and see this price action in more detail. So 29th January, we broke the high of the previous week, and which is where we would have entered a trade. And here we can see on the 31st, if we zoom out, is where we had this pretty large red candle bearish day on the highest volume of the week as well, which showed one of two things. Either the market reacted to a news about maybe the job data or GDP, or people who were bulls or bullish are closing out their positions, specifically maybe option positions. So we do have to keep these things in mind as well. But then the next 2 days were extremely bullish and going on higher volume as well, increasingly higher volume. So another thing to note here is that the blue line is technically still on top, but the ADX has started to fall a little bit, but obviously we still have a lot of bullish signals from the other charts. And we can see that here the blue line has crossed the ADX again, which is again another strong bullish signal. So that covers the charts. So let's head over to the Excel sheet. Now, here we can see that last week we had a buy signal on the 30th of January, which gave us a profit of 1,158.76 and ended the week at 117,125.02. So this week we have no trade yet. We wait for the breakout. We buy when it crosses the high at 496.05, sell when it falls below the support at 489.12, target of 1% trailing stop loss. If the target or stop loss isn't hit, then we close on Friday if we have an open position. The max OI for the weekly expiry is 515 for CE at 71,315, which has gone up from last week and is bullish. And the PE has also gone up slightly to 483 at 21,560. So from the weekly option chain, we can see that both the support, the max, PE, and CE have gone up, showing that the support and resistance shifted upwards, which overall is a bullish signal. The weekly PCR is also 2.03, showing a pretty large bullish conviction, although it is pretty overbought. Max OI for monthly expiry is 495 for CE at 95,371 and 450 for PE at 150,937, and the monthly PCR is 2.07. So with that, the weekly trend is up and the monthly trend is up. And this concludes my video for the weekly prediction of SPY. But of course, thank you for watching, enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.